Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Programming with a Purpose. So this is the part 2 in navigation series where I'll be discussing navigation view and navigation link. So if you are familiar with the implementation of a backend and Firebase inside Swiftui, you can simply jump towards the end of the video where I'm discussing the navigation link. Otherwise, follow these steps to integrate a backend into your Swiftui app. So here I have launched Firebase and I'm giving it an app name, selecting an account, and now it is preparing my database. It is going to take some time. After that, I'm going to press the iOS button and I am going to copy the bundle identified there. And next, I'm going to download the config file and add it to my Xcode. So basically, I'm showing you all of these steps. It is important for the navigation view because generally in navigation view, we are moving from a list of options to a specific detailed option. So basically here, I'm moving from the list of recipes toward a specific recipe. So this is the initialization code I'm going to add here. It is going to take some time. I'm adding here the Firebase iOS SDK using Package Manager. You can add it using Carthage and Pod as well, but Package Manager is the latest method, so I'm going to prefer it. Here I'm selecting the target, which is basically my project name. So here is the SwiftUI code that you are going to add into your main file, basically your entry file. Here I'm copying a function of app delegate and using this line inside my struct recipe book navigation series app, I'm going to call it the app delegate function. You are going to open it. You are going to see that how it's extended UI application delegate, and it is calling this function, which is going to configure the Firebase app. So now I'm going to build the code to see that if there are any errors in integration, so the build is successful. Now I'm going to add here another file, recipe view model. So this is the recipe view model. It is giving me an error, missing required module Firebase internal, but my Firebase database is integrated properly. So I'm going to fix this error. Here I have completed all of the steps. I'm going to move back to my project. And here I'm going to basically do these steps to add the Firebase database inside the link binary. So here it's added and now all errors are removed. So it means that Firebase database is integrated properly. Now I will start writing the code here. So before writing the code, I'm going to show you here how we are going to set up the Firebase database and add data to it. I forgot this step, so I'm adding it here. So from all the products, you are going to select whichever product you want to add. So I'm adding here the real-time database. So once it's added, we are going to press the button of create database. It is going to show you different locations where you want to physically store your data. You can select any of the option. I'm keeping it as default and I'm starting the project in test mode. So next, it is setting up. It is going to take some time. Now we are inside our real-time database. Firebase allows you to play around with the database for a certain number of projects, I guess 4 or 5. So basically you can create as many apps inside your single Firebase project. So here I'm going to import the JSON file. I'm going to paste the link of the JSON file inside the description box. I've got it from GitHub. So this is food.json. I'm going to import it. And it has basically this many number of recipes, and inside each recipe there are fields like ID, name, nutrition per gram, which is going to then give us the nutrition per 100 grams of that recipe. So rest, there are tags. Here I'm exploring the data. You can check it on your own. So you have seen here this class is extended observable object, which is going to basically help us observe the published values inside our view in which the object of this class will be called. So here we are making the variable recipes as published because it is going to fetch and store all of the recipes from backend into this variable. And then we have created a variable which is a reference to our database. You have seen that we haven't mentioned any API key and other information related to project because all of this information is present inside the Google service-info.plist file that we have downloaded and imported from the Firebase terminal during our setup of this project. So here I have created a variable recipes which is local to this function fetch recipes, and I'm observing values, getting the snapshot, and then I'm iterating over the childs. Here I'm going to get the child as a data snapshot, and then I'm going to convert it into a dictionary which will contain basically a key, and the object can be of any type. Next, we are going to convert these objects into their relevant type. So this is basically called typecasting. So here I'm converting the name key into string. So basically keys are already in string. We are getting the values of those keys inside dictionaries and converted them into their relevant types. They are converted to strings. Next, I'm converting the tags into a array of strings. Next, we are going to get the nutrition dictionary, which is going to basically contain the value from nutrition dash per dash 100 grams. We are going to check the syntax inside our database. So this is dash 100G. So we are converting it into string any object because the values are going to contain further objects, and then we are going to get those objects from nutrition dictionary. So here I'm getting the carbohydrate value and I'm going to convert it into as double because we are going to store them as double values. So this is how we are going to get all of the nutritional parameter values and converting them to double and storing them into our recipe model. So copy all of these variables here so that it's easier to use them. Take care of the exact spellings and the syntax when you are basically copying the value inside those double quotes, because if the spellings or the syntax do not match with the entries that are inside your database, the fetch is going to fail. So here I'm copying all of the nutritional parameters. So once you are done with these values fetching, you are going to pass these values to recipe model and return it into an object, which is basically our variable with the name of my recipe. And then I'm going to push this my recipe inside our published array so that we'll be able to access it from a view. So this is basically our view model. We are using here the architecture of MVVM, which is basically model, view model, and then we have another view. So these are basically, you are going to see three layers. I am fetching the data of recipe model inside this view model, and I'm going to access this data inside my view. So here I am writing the view, which is all recipes view. It is going to display all of the recipes fetched from the backend with line number 11, which is basically fetching the view model and creating its object as observed object. Here I'm going to check that if the recipes are there, it means that we need to display it. Otherwise, we are going to just display a progress view. On the top, you can see here that a navigation view is created with a navigation link, which is going to help us to navigate to the next screen passing this recipe. So here I'm iterating over each of the view model.recipes in a list, and I'm going to show that list in our all recipes view. This view is plain and simple. I did not create it fancy or like other proper application views, to just show you how navigation view and navigation link works. So here I'm passing the destination of recipe detail view, and in recipe details, I'm going to pass my current recipe. So it is going to create a navigation link for each of the recipe inside the list. Next, the view is going to contain a simple text, which is basically recipe.name. On appear, I'm going to call the function of fetch recipes. So after that, I'm going to call this all recipes view inside my content view, so that it is going to be basically our entry point into the application. I've commented out the previous code and no data is being displayed. This is due to the typos inside the field names. So I fixed those, and you can see here that the recipes are now being shown and the bottom drawer is working fine. You can see here that the percentages, the recipe image, and the recipe details are the same because I have hard coded them. Only their component percentages are going to be changed, and the tags and the recipe names are going to be changed because these are all the values that are stored inside our database. In ideal case, we are going to store all of the values. But since we are using an already made food.json, so I have just stored those values and displayed rest of the values to make the view a little more presentable. So this is all for this tutorial. I hope you are able to grasp the concept of navigation view and how we are going to use it inside our application, and how we are going to integrate Firebase into our Swift UI project. So this is all. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to like and share this video, subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for the other parts in navigation series.